News Talk 1440 WROK. This is Ask the Expert on a Thursday morning. And today we're going to learn a lot about an organization this area has a lot to be proud of. Lifescape. Lifescape services and more. And how you can help out, how you can be a participant, and so much more. And, we thought we could ask a bunch of questions. Let's ask the person who would know the answer to those questions. And that's someone who is the program director at Lifescape. Would you care to introduce yourself, young lady?
Yes, thank you, Riley, for having me. My name is Kelly Sanford, and I am the program director at our Lifescape Adult Day program.
Outstanding. Kelly, nice to meet you. I'm glad you had time to come in this morning.
Thank you for having us.
First off, for people who don't know what Lifescape is, they've seen the name, obviously, because you guys are all over the community. What is Lifescape?
So Lifescape is a community organization, and we provide services and supports for our senior population in the 11 surrounding counties. So anything from Meals on Wheels to, like I said, our Adult Day program. So we kind of consider ourselves the experts in senior care and senior services.
Outstanding. Now, you've been with Lifescape for how long?
I've been with our Adult Day program for just over 10 and a half years.
What drew you in? Yeah, how'd you get your start there?
I needed a job, if I'm being totally honest.
Please be. Yeah, please be. A lot of us find ourselves in a circumstance like that leads to something much more.
Yeah, I was looking for something new, looking for a new pursuit, adventure, and I kind of happened upon the position of site manager and admissions coordinator for Lifescape. And here I sit. That's where I started as our admissions coordinator and site manager for the Adult Day program. And about 3 years ago, I was offered the opportunity to move into the director position when my director retired. So 10 and a half years later, here I am.
Is this something you saw yourself doing years and years ago? Or is this something that all of a sudden a door opened up, you walked through it, and you found something really rewarding?
Yeah, no, I never saw myself working with the senior population. To be totally honest, it terrified me a little bit. The idea of, getting close to somebody and that, then their situation changing and they're not, in our program anymore.
Sure.
I started my career, I guess you'd say, in Parks and Rec. So my degree is in recreation administration, so with an emphasis in therapeutic rec. So and seniors were not an area that I wanted to kind of get into. But the opportunity arose and I took it. And like I said, here I still am. And our clients are great. Every client that's come through our door has so much to share, so much wisdom. And it's been a real honor to, continue to serve them for all these years.
What a complete 180 from I don't know, this is kind of intimidating. This is kind of frightening. I really don't want to do this. And you're going to have to do it. Oh man, what's it going to be? And you love it.
Yeah, I do. Like I said, it's not a bad place to be. Lifescape's a great organization. It's a great place to work. And, again, our clients and our families really make what we do truly rewarding. The opportunity to kind of give back to them, help support those individuals at this time in their life where they need more support, to keep them independent, to maintain their dignity, to keep them in their homes.
Sure.
Those are all things that our program can assist our clients and their caregivers with by having the service that we have.
So the ripple effect then of your service goes far beyond the client, the person, the participant that you're taking care of. This ripples all the way through their family.
It sure does. Yeah, we like to say that we are here for the caregiver just as much as we are for the individual that's in our program or receiving our services.
So when you mentioned you're there for the caregiver, having been in that position a few times in my life before, there are times as a caregiver you would love to have someone who understands what you're going through, what it takes to do what you do, that it's okay at times to find yourself exhausted and at wit's end because it's a high pressure sort of, I don't want to call it a job, but it's a high pressure thing that you are in the middle of undertaking and in caring for someone else. It's got to be great to them to reach out to you to get a tip, to get an idea, to talk to someone who says, hey, maybe if you tried this method, this might work a little bit better. I can see where this just keeps giving and giving and giving down the line.
Yep, it does. we're there as a sounding board for our families, even just to say, you're not alone in the struggles that you're going through.
Sure.
Caregiving is 24/7.
It is.
It does not stop.
Nope.
So, to have a day program like ours with the staff that we have, and then the extension of all the resources that Lifescape has and the connections we have in the community with other resources, we really can be so much for the families that we serve. And like I said, even if it's just coming in and being a sounding board, there have been a number of times we've had families come in our office and just vent, talk, cry.
Sure.
And, all they really need is that ear.
Yep.
Lifescape also has support groups as well, a caregiver support group that we offer.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Yeah, so they meet monthly, and then they do some education within that support group, as well as the opportunity for people to kind of do some of those same things I just mentioned.
Sure.
But there is something unique about the service that we have as far as the adult day program and the connection we end up having with the families that come through, because we do see a lot of them on a daily basis, a weekly basis, even if it's once a week. We build that rapport. We have that connection. They trust us.
Yeah.
And so they, come in and need to talk, need to vent, need advice,
all of those things are like pieces of gold to a caregiver. All of those things. The ear that you mentioned, just someone who knows what you're going through and is willing to sit and listen to your facet of how you're going through it. And then a wonderful piece of advice that happens to float out that can make life easier for not only the person being cared for, but for the caregiver themselves. That's worth its weight in gold.
100%. Yeah. And then the clients themselves, when they come to our program, we offer what we can do for them, or what we can provide them, is that they still have purpose. They still have somewhere to be. They still have others to be around. The social aspect as we age is really, really important to maintain. And it becomes harder because, our social circles change. Things change with our friends, our families. We lose people. Our abilities change. We need a little bit more support. We're having some, other medical things going on where we need, just a little bit of support to maintain the independence that we have, but to also meet those needs. And our adult day program can help those individuals to, have that social outlet, have something to do, have a purpose, somewhere to be, and still have those needs met.
Let's talk about your adult program and how someone who's listening right now, how their loved one could benefit. How do they even get the ball rolling with this with you?
Sure. So we do have a process, as do most things. Our goal is to, of course, support our families, support our clients, maintain independence, support dignity. But, unfortunately, there are some needs that our program can't meet. So we have a process to go through to determine and make sure that this is a good fit for everybody around. Okay. So, it's as simple as a phone call to the day center. A lot of our families start that way. We'll get phone calls with, I just saw you guys on the internet and I just called. I don't even know where to start. And so we can help them kind of navigate some of the other resources that might be available to them. We schedule a tour. So that's an opportunity for you to come in and tour the facility, meet with our admissions coordinator. Her name is Pat, and she's great. So she will, show you around, talk about what we do and how we do it. It's really a great opportunity for our clients, our potential clients and their caregivers to see our center. I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there about adult day services, quote unquote, adult day care, as the state, kind of identifies us. We like to call ourselves a program because, of course, there is a care component to what we do, but there is a programming component as well. And it is a little bit more of a dignified label, if you will, for the services that we provide.
So too. Yeah.
So families can come in, tour the facility, sit down with the site manager, learn more about what their loved one's needs are, what their what things they need help with, what things they don't need help with, because of course we want to support independence. So if you don't need support in something, we want to make sure that we're respectful as we can be with that in the confines of safety, to make sure that we're still meeting those needs as well. And then we offer a trial day. So there's a free 4-hour visit that every potential client is required to do, but it also, it's a really great opportunity for that individual to, just see what we have to offer, experience the program themselves.
And see if it's truly for them.
And see it, correct. And then it allows us to assess their needs further. So our typical client, we say, is over the age of 55 with a dementia diagnosis or a cognitive impairment. Now, that does not mean that we are just a program for individuals with dementia, and it doesn't mean that we are a program for that we're just a program for people without dementia. We're kind of, if you need support, you need a little bit of supervision, you need some assistance in some way, then we may be able to fill that need for you.
Okay. So almost like a hybrid. We're not in this camp, we're not necessarily in this camp, but we can blend.
Yep, for sure. We like to consider ourselves kind of a bridge for what's next for individuals, in our efforts to keep them in their homes with their loved ones or independent. We have had a number of individuals come through our program who still reside in their homes independently with services and supports in place to meet their needs. And then we have others who, their cognition is not what it used to be. They're a little bit more confused than they once were. So they need more support, and they reside in their homes with their caregivers, their adult children.
Sure.
And those individuals work or have families that they're still taking care of. And so a service like our day program can provide that supervision piece for that individual, that those individuals that may need it, that social piece during the day, so that their needs are met. Those needs are met.
And I think, speaking as a former caregiver too, you wrestle in your head a little bit too. Am I pawning the person I'm caring for off on somebody else because I'm tired and I'm stretched out and I have all these other things to do and everything's falling apart because I can't get it all done? You wrestle with the internal guilt of am I pawning my dad off onto somebody else here so I can get a couple of things done? Listening to your explanation of what you do at Lifescape, that's not what this is at all.
No, but those feelings are real.
Oh, those feelings are very real. Trust me.
We see that a lot with new incoming families, and not to infantilize our clients at all, but it's very reminiscent of when you drop your child off at kindergarten for the first time.
It is.
Those feelings you have for your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, whoever it is that you're caring for. All those feelings, we hear that all the time. It's like, oh my gosh, why does it feel this way? And that's valid, because you have all those feelings you're wrestling with,
and it shows you care as well. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be wrestling with those feelings. Correct. Yeah, and you want to make sure are their needs going to be met? Are they going to be okay? Are they going to make friends? Are they going to have enough to do? And then the hope is that for the caregiver and the client, that over time those feelings will start to subside. And it will just become comfortable and a great something to look forward to.
Something to look forward to, and a great resource to help you also manage yourself. Because as a caregiver, regardless of who you're caring for, when you're caring for somebody, you still have to take care of yourself as the caregiver, because you're no good to anybody then if you've run yourself completely into the ground and can't. Correct.
Yeah, and especially if you're, as you had mentioned earlier, someone who has a family that they're running at the same time. We've got this event, we got that event, the kids are doing. You've got a house full doing this, and you're doing this as well. The tendency to run yourself into the ground is really, really strong.
And we see a lot of caregivers. Our fear is always that the caregiver is going to find themselves in a adverse medical situation before the individual that we're actually helping them support. And we've seen that happen with a few families. That the caregiver finds themselves in the hospital dealing with some pretty significant medical issues that could be directly related to stress or, their own medical things going on, but they're exacerbated because they're stressed or because they're tired or because they're not taking their meds or going to their doctor's appointments or what have you.
And then their stress is exacerbated because now they're laid up and the person they're supposed to be taking care of, they're not taking care of them.
Correct.
That makes it even harder to recover from whatever you're trying to.
Yes.
It becomes a vicious circle, doesn't it?
It does. For sure.
And that's why Lifescape exists, to make sure that this sort of thing doesn't happen. We talk about eligibility and who you're looking for. Can we talk about the admission process? And I also want to touch on your staff, because obviously when you and I talked a little bit off there, you're proud of the people you work with.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as far as the staffing is concerned, so we're staffed at a 1 to 6. So 1 staff for every 6 clients that we have.
Okay.
So we have some program assistants that are there during the day that provide pretty much all of the day-to-day support that our clients need. So they do everything from serving meals, which we also haven't talked about the fact that we do serve meals at our program as well. So they serve meals, they provide activities, they help kind of bridge those social gaps. We do an exercise program every day with our clients, and they really are there to just kind of move throughout and support the individuals as we move through the structure of our day. We also have a nurse on site. So we have a program nurse who's there every day. And her role is to help support our clients' medical needs. As far as medication is concerned, if they have any diabetic needs, things like that, she's there to assist them with the appropriate paperwork on file to support those needs that the individual may have.
The client's there in the afternoon. There is a requirement for medication to be taken at about 3 o'clock. This runs through your nurse.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Correct. And then our site manager and admissions coordinator. So she, of course, site manager, she's there to manage all the day-to-day operations. She's very hands-on, engaged with the clients, jumping in kind of whenever is necessary, much as as well as our nurse. But and then she also works with clients and families on that admission process. So she's kind of our point person for new individuals coming in. She's there to answer all of your questions, schedule your tours, schedule your trial day, and really walk through the steps of admission to have you join us.
I like that. So yeah, there's a checklist we go through. We make sure everything. It's all part of being thorough.
Correct. Yeah, and making sure that we have everything on file to ensure that the individual is safe and that their needs are met while they're there.
That's outstanding. So obviously, Lifescape's been around for a while. This is, we haven't been around for a week and a half, and we've come up with all of these wonderful ideas on how to organize things. Obviously, years and years and years of experience have dictated some of these things. And your staffing structure, obviously, is very important to how all of this works and how not only your client, but the client's family feels about how everything is.
Right.
Now, you mentioned the food, and that's a big component. So for people who want to, what about a diet? What about a dietary need? What about something specific on that? You guys have that covered.
Yeah, so we serve meals in our program, which is another reason why some families and clients actually choose our services is because, mom's not eating well at home. She doesn't remember to eat. She can't prepare her meals anymore. She only eats candy or cookies or whatever is easily accessible, right?
Easy to get at.
And so another big part of our program is to serve nutritious meals. So we serve breakfast, lunch, and a snack to our clients as long as they're there over those meal times.
Sure.
There's roughly 2 hours in between each meal. And so we do send home menus so our clients and families know what to expect on any given day for a meal.
That.
And then all of our food comes from our community kitchen. So Lifescape prepares all of our food. We receive that on a daily basis. Our lunch is always a hot meal. Unless it's summer, and we do have some salads in the rotation.
That seems fair. That seems fair,
typically it's a hot meal that includes, protein, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, dairy or milk. So, we're there to also serve those meals, but then also provide kind of some supervision on how much did they eat? Are they still consuming enough to meet their needs?
Yeah.
Special diets is one of those things that we don't necessarily cater to in our program. We do, all of our food is no added sugar, no added sodium. So that meets that need. But if you have a dietary restriction, a preference, we get a lot of clients with dietary preferences and think, it's like, I want to order a double cheeseburger versus a cheeseburger. It's like, we don't do that here.
Yeah, right.
But you can bring an alternative. Okay. So, we do have a fridge and, that we can store. If you don't like what's the main item, you can bring in a sandwich.
Whatever you'd like. Sure.
Yeah, we do have some clients who bring in some supplemental things too, like an Ensure drink or something, because they still need a little bit more, and they have those at their meals as well. So, So, yeah.
Yeah, you're covered in that department.
Yeah.
One of them I want to touch on because we're going to run short on time here. Transportation options. Yeah. Well, for how do we get someone there?
Sure. We do offer transportation in our program. So we have buses that are specific to our program. We also have drivers.
See them all the time.
We also have drivers that are specific to our adult day program. So they work for our program. They know our clients. They're trained to work with our clients. And so those buses go out every day to pick up their route. If you live in Winnebago County, we can typically provide transportation to you. We try to serve everybody we can with our bus within the confines of what exists.
Right.
So like the route already exists. So anyone new coming in, we're going to look at your address. We're going to see, is it feasible or not? And we're honest. We're pretty upfront. It doesn't do anybody any good to not be.
No.
But so we'll, if we can serve you on the bus, the only requirement with only other requirement with the bus is that you have to be able to, follow kind of the rules of the bus, right? Remain seated, remain buckled, things like that. Because again, we need to make sure that you're safe.
Everybody's safe.
If you ride the bus, it's a 6-hour day that you're there. So 6 hours from the time you arrive, that same bus comes back with that same driver to pick you up and take you home. We do have other individuals. Busing doesn't work for them. 6 hours is too long. 6 hours isn't long enough.
Okay.
So their family or caregiver drops them off as well, or as an option as well. So they can, come in. Maybe they only want to come for 4 hours. So, their caregiver may drop them off for 4 hours. Maybe they need to come for 7 hours, so their caregiver drops them off for that duration of time.
Sure.
So there's some flexibility with family drop off and pick up.
That's outstanding. So, whatever the hour structure is that works for the family, there's a way to make that work otherwise.
And we work with families to kind of understand what that is at admission, to try to understand, what they want their schedule to be, how many hours they think they want their loved one there.
Sure.
Sometimes families are so stressed that they, come in and we get this phone call. It's like, I want them to be there from 7:30 a.m., which is when we open, to 5 p.m., which is when we close. And we're like, okay, hold the phone. Let's see what's going on. Why do you need them to be here that long? What are your needs? Is it because you're working? Is it because you're stressed? Some clients can't tolerate that whole length of time. That's a long day.
That's a long day, sure.
And so we try to help our families to feel that relief that our program can provide while also meeting the needs of that individual and, we want them to be successful, and sometimes too much, 7:30 to 5, for example, that's not going to promote success with that person possibly, which then doesn't help the caregiver. So we try to work with the families during admission to kind of identify schedule, timing, what's going to work.
Sure. Constant evaluation.
Constant.
Constant evaluation. We're just about out of time. For people who want to find out more, who want to reach out, who have listened this morning and gone, this could be the answer to my prayers. What's the best way to make contact?
They can give us a call. Or they can find us on our website. We also have a open house that's scheduled for Wednesday, the 25th from 4 to 6, and that's a drop-in event. So if you are unsure, you kind of want to scope it out before you move forward with, pursuing services, drop in, come see us. We'll be there. All of my staff will be there on that day. And it would be an opportunity for you to come in, see the facility, ask us questions, even get paperwork. We can even sit down with you and work through paperwork at that time if that's something that you need.
Very cool.
So, yeah, lots of options.
It's lots of options and all right there in front of you. Website address to check out?
Lifescapecommunityservices.org.
You guys are on Facebook as well, I'm sure?
We are.
All right.
Yes.
Highly, highly recommend you guys check that one out. Kelly, you were outstanding. Thanks for explaining all of this to us, because I think for a lot of people this has been really, really eye-opening.
I hope so. We like to joke and say we're one of Rockford's best kept secrets. There's still so many people that don't know a service like ours even exists, and that Lifescape actually has this service. And so we say that all the time.
Yeah,
so
I can see why you do. Check out Lifescape, you guys. Kelly, thank you.
Thank you.